Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is TheSparrowsJourney. This is the Universim. What would you do with a power? The Universim has been for a while now on Steam, and I always wondered when the hell does this come out, because it sounds and looks like something I really want to play and enjoy myself. The Universim is a game where you play as a god. You start by controlling a small group of people in the Stone Era, and from that point on, you try to develop your city, I suppose, through all the eras. Stone Age, Medieval Age, Industrial Age, similar to games like Civilization. I compare this game to a mix, a cocktail of other games. Games like Civilization, like Black and White, which is a god game that I loved in the past. And I would also include in that cocktail a game like The Sims. It makes me feel sometimes like the environment we have in The Sims, with the music, with the feeling I get when I'm controlling my subordinates. You actually don't control your subordinates. They call it, by the way, nuggets. You don't directly control them. You give them instructions. The Universim is one of those games that I would really enjoy to make a series on, a let's play on, but currently, considering that we are playing a alpha version, which is available to all the backers, because this game was greenlit on Greenlight and it was kickstarted, it was funded there. All backers can play it already, but it's still not out on Steam, other than a small demo, which is pretty much a movie showing what the game is all about. The developer is Critivo Games, by the way, and there's still no release date, but I would say really soon in 2017. So I'm going to accept the tutorial over here, and this also to give you an idea of what the game is all about and what are all the things that we need to consider while playing this game. So this is all the keys we can use, the camera and whatnot, so I can use my WASD to move throughout the whole planet. As you can see, this is a whole planet. We can control what happens in here, in the whole planet. And for obvious reasons, you know, you don't need to know much about science, there's a side of the planet that is daytime, and the other side of the planet is nighttime, depending on where the sun is at and what time of the day is in each part of the planet. As you can see over here, it's nighttime. There's also cold areas, warmer areas, and you gotta pick up a place to start the game at with your people that has all the resources required for a good start. Things like trees, stone. I would most likely pick up an area that is, normal temperature, not really extremes. So let's accept here the tutorial indications. I'm gonna go through all of that. Now we have place epicenter. Epicenter is the place where you're gonna put the first rock, where two guys will come out of. Actually, not two guys, a girl and a guy. This will be the first house that you're gonna have. So we gotta pick an area that has stone, trees, food, I would say, and water. Water is really important as well, of course, for all kinds of life. And you might want to start on a place that is still in the morning. So for instance, over here it's 10 a.m. so it's not a bad place to start at. We still have a long way to go in the day, and it's 21 degrees Celsius. That's a good temperature. So I'm gonna start my civilization right over here. We are currently in the Stone Age. We start at the Stone Age, and as you can see, we have a kid, a girl, a man over here, and another girl, small girl. Maybe they will commit incest at some point. That's not good news. If I click over here, I can see that I have a woman, I have a man, and this is, I suppose, their birth, their age, 1, 2, as in since they become adults. Not entirely sure of that. I think this panel only gathers all the people that are currently adults, not the kids. So we're gonna accept all these tutorials, panels. Not gonna read too much of that. If you wanna pause the video, you're able to do it and read yourself. We have god powers, of course, as part of a, god game. So I'm gonna now investigate into that. I can use my middle mouse click for that. Currently, I can't do it. The game doesn't allow me. We have also the mating. you can either select what are the women that are gonna actually mate and have more kids. I guess this is to control the amount of people you get, the population you get. For instance, if you don't want your civilization, your village to grow, you stop and don't choose anyone to mate. Currently, it's in automatic, and I'm going to leave it like that. We don't want to stop the growth of our planet. We have here the statistics. If we go in here, and we can check the population of mammoths, black bears, rabbits, hawks, and all those animals. I can also choose to see nuggets. Apparently, it's still in developing. No tracking of the resources either. We're going to go back. And now view epicenter. If we click over here, we get straight into the epicenter. Construction. The construction panel. Obviously, you have all sorts of different things to build. Currently, there's a lot of them that are not allowed because they will come soon. The game is still in development, so that's why I decided to make this short video rather than a let's play. Now, resources. All your resources are down here. We are going to mainly deal with wood and stone on this video because all things like oil or what is this, gas, I would suppose, yeah, are not going to be required until you reach, I would say, industrial era. The water is really important as well. And finally, let's see, news and logs. If we press this button over here, you get all the messages that have been announced to you in the game. This keeps track of all the normal things that can happen and all the things that you really need to pay attention to. And finally, at the top, you can see the season, the temperature, and the time of the day. And actually, the age of your civilization over there. I guess it goes by with season cycles, I read over there. Alright, so finally, we can also speed up the game by pressing plus key. As you can see, people will start moving faster and everything moves faster. And the tutorial is done from this point on. Alright, so we should always start by going over here. I would say this is a good start. How I usually start. We need a well over here for people to drink water. They currently go to the lake to drink water, but we want them to drink clean water. So for that, we need a well. But this well needs a water pump. So we're going to put that near the lake over here. It magnets to a point where it can be at. So I'm going to put it over here in the corner. I cannot rotate this one because this one magnets straight into the lake. We're going to wait for people to come over here. We are currently having Mamomo coming over here to build it. We're going to accelerate time and watch the progress of it. We can see down there supporters as well. So basically you don't have people, all the people building, but they are over there supporting the guy building stuff, which is pretty fun. I guess supporting are the people that will bring the materials over there. And since they gather all the materials over there now, they are no longer supporters, I mean, and they start building themselves. Alright, we have the water pump. And after that, we can finally get the well. I'm going to try to be, you know, somewhat slow over here so that you can get all the steps needed. Now I'm going to put a well over here. Now, from my previous experience, you want to have everything close to each other. I had one game where I built, for instance, a well. This is the epicenter, right? I built the well, like, over here, and they would still complain they didn't have any water nearby. You want to try and have all the people and all the buildings as close as possible to each other so that your civilization becomes efficient and fast growing. Obviously, we're going to need more wells in the future. For instance, if we build one over here, we will probably build another one around over here if we expand to this side. You gotta consider the scope, the scale of the map. I was also gonna try to tell you, we can zoom out just like this, all the way back here. This is the whole globe, the whole planet we are building on right now. We have nighttime on the epicenter, so for obvious reasons, it's daytime on the other side of the planet. I can rotate the planet like this with WASD. I can use my mouse to drag it a little bit faster. And I can also change my perspective like so. The reason why you can look to other sides of the galaxy is because in the future, the developers promise that you will be able to expand to other planets. Yes, you'll be able to get into this science era where you get into space, you explore other planets. Eventually, you'll also be able to build on those planets and make a second civilization over there, for instance. Because oxygen and things like oil and whatnot are currently resources you can see down here below. You don't need to care much about because they don't currently exist in the game, but they will be considered in the future. So if your planet runs out of oxygen, you will obviously have to migrate to other, to other planets. We have here a warning. Adahi is so thirsty. Well, there is a well over here, so you should probably go to it. Currently, there's one, I would say, use available. So that guy just did it. He's now drinking. And now this will regenerate water again. And when it reaches this cycle over here, I think it reaches this cycle or maybe this one. I'm not entirely sure. It goes up by 1 again. This is the current growth of water, the current, if that makes sense, coming to the well. So 15 is a decent amount. You gotta be careful with this. This basically means that water will be coming in the well at all times, but the higher this number is, the better, because it will regenerate faster. Alright, so I've spent a lot of time... Oh, we have some action going on over here. Someone is gonna have a baby soon. Spent a lot of time trying to explain things out, so let's get to work now. I'm gonna build some more stuff. The basic stuff you need to build from the very start are located in this tab over here. Why am I zooming out? That doesn't make sense. There we go. So right now I would go with a constructor's hut, even though the heatery is really required. It's where the people eat and cook. But a construction place will allow me, the office I would say, will allow me to specify people into that job. So I'm gonna put one over here, and I'm gonna watch people going over there. Now when it comes to God powers, if I click my middle mouse button, we currently only have this section of God powers because the other ones are coming soon. Things like plant 1 tree, plant 10 trees, cloud formation if you need rain, for instance, place 10 stones to fasten, I suppose, the construction of certain buildings and whatnot. We have here a tornado, meteor strike, volcano, earthquake, and lightning strike. Imagine the possibilities. This reminds me so much about Black and White and those ancient times of that great game that I loved. Currently, you only have available this section with which you can just move an object. You cannot do this, actually. This allows you to give priority to one building. You can already do that by pressing a button on the building, but I guess this is even better. Inconceivable, I suppose you make someone able to get pregnant instantly without having to go through the mating process. And now immortality. Wow, this is a good one. Giving immortality to someone sounds really good. I'm going to test out, just as an example, the basic object interaction. Currently, I think it's a little bit finicky. It's not working as intended, or it needs some polish. Imagine that I don't have any trees near my epicenter. So I'm going to try to bring this tree over here by clicking and holding my button over there. So if I do this and then move away, this kind of works like Black and White. But in Black and White, you would actually grab with a hand the object, which would make it much easier to see where are you going to place it. Right now, this is, as you can see, a little bit tricky. If I, for instance, want to put it over there, I have no idea how do I accomplish that. I'm going to zoom in and click over here to drop the tree. It dropped over there, not exactly where I put my mouse pointer at. So now these people will be able to cut that tree and get wood from it. It's a way to help your villagers by being a god. So we're gonna watch this here being built, and I'm gonna accelerate time. I don't know why people are complaining that they are thirsty, because there's a well over here and it has one use on it. Supporters, which means probably people are still bringing stuff over here. They are carrying the required resources over here. They are getting stone, even though they don't need stone. I suppose they are clearing out the place. They are taking out all the trees and stone from that place. By the way, you can also change this sound for warnings. I just have this annoying one for really important stuff so that I just don't overlook it and I can get right to it. We're gonna watch this being built nicely by Mamamo, Adahi, and Chuko. You can get really close and hear them out speaking. Just babbling like in The Sims. Not entirely sure if they are doing it now. Sometimes they say some weird stuff. Like that guy just did. They look like some proper barbarians at this point. We are, after all, in the stone era. As you can see, you know, graphics is not a huge thing in the game right now. If you zoom out, the game really does look good. And considering this is an engine that can simulate this, it's... I don't know. I'm a gamer. I am 30 years old, but I didn't see this coming anytime soon. It's a really good accomplishment doing this. You managing a whole planet, a sphere, is something that I didn't see coming in any game anytime soon. So I think this is an amazing accomplishment with the game engine in the Universim. Also considering that I'm running currently the game at 120 frames per second, which is really, really decent. I'm gonna go back to my epicenter. So now we have the constructor's hut. I'm gonna assign a nugget to it. So from this point on, these guys should be the ones building stuff. I'm gonna assign Chuko and also Mamamo. I suppose when you are assigning jobs, oh, you can also assign them to either repair or build stuff. I'm gonna leave it in the middle. I would say that you gotta be careful when you are assigning people. I'm gonna do this so that we can see this panel again. By watching carefully their stats. But currently there's nothing that tells me what is a good builder. There is over here a stat for force, might, they call it might. There is a stat for, what is this, stamina. But I'm not entirely sure which stats I should care about when giving, for instance, the construction job to someone. So I'm gonna put over here, who was it, Chuko. So there we go. Now we're gonna need, there's some action happening over there. We're gonna have another baby soon. They build their huts themselves. They do it automatically. You don't need to be careful about that. We're gonna put over here what they call the eatery. Eatery is the place where they gather to eat food. It's like a restaurant. You assign 2 people to cook, and then people come in there, sit on a table, and eat. I'm gonna put it right over here. The reason why I'm doing things so close to each other, I'm almost not leaving any breathing space between them, is so to try and avoid the problem that I had in the previous game where things were so split up and so farther from each other that, for instance, if they had worked over here and if they wanted to drink something, they wouldn't get to this well. They would just complain. A fisher pier. So I'm gonna put one over here, trying to build it close to the village. Over there. And also, at the same time, so that my villagers never stop, I'm gonna also put in, I don't know where it is exactly, a farm. So that if the eatery is over there, you want to put the farm close to the eatery, so that people on the eatery can go to the farm, get supplies, get back to the eatery, and cook those supplies. So we're gonna put it over here. Normally in these kind of games, I don't like to build stuff so close to each other, but on the Universim, I do think it's important to actually do that. The eatery is also close to the fishery hut, which is great. We're gonna watch them build that. As you can see, currently the lake is frozen. It's -4 degrees Celsius. Is the farm built? Yes, it is. So now what you want to do is assign farmers. Of course. We're gonna give it to Zimola, Zibala, and finally, Lamboko. So you want to start building over here. Basically what's happening over here is you have 4 plots, as you can see, 4 of them. And you need to start by preparing them to grow crops. which is what they are currently doing. After that process, when it reaches 100%, you'll be able to choose which crops you want to grow. You gotta be careful with things like temperature and the seasons, so that you pick up a good crop to grow over here. You gotta be careful with what are the conditions you are actually playing on. So if you chose this place, which is, you know, currently at minus 30 degrees Celsius, that's really negative. You gotta adapt to this place that I chose to build on. So the different crops over here, you have juicy acorn, dragon egg fruit, crystalline crabapple, panda brain plum, mangrove fruit, healthy malina, and bloody diarrhea fruit, which is great. All the different kind of crops have their own time to grow. So obviously the faster they grow, the better, because they will give you more food. But you have to be careful with things like the temperature which they are allowed to grow in. So currently, as you can see, and if I remember correctly, in the past we had something like 30 degrees minus. So you want to be careful with that. Actually, there's no currently crop that survives through minus 30 degrees Celsius. I guess the closest one is the panda brain plum. But this takes 10 minutes to grow. That's a lot. And if I'm not mistaken, you're gonna get 6 pieces of food for each time 10 minutes passes. So you gotta make the math and try to come up with the best crop for your farm. Currently, I'm gonna choose panda brain plum over here. You can choose different kind of crops for each plot. I'm gonna choose, let's see, over here. Let's put this time around the bloody diarrhea, because it can also survive in a good temperature range, and it only requires 4 minutes. So I'm gonna grow that. Over here, let's see, we can go to dragon egg fruit, but it requires that the temperature does not go above 5 degrees Celsius, and that is gonna happen really soon. So right now, I guess I'm gonna go and stick to the bloody diarrhea fruit. And maybe why not? 2 of each. Let's put another panda over here. What was the last message? Important one? So thirsty. Well, you have a well over here, so I don't know why are you complaining. And the well is full. So there we go. We need water, so we need this pump ready really soon. I'm gonna prioritize it. This is already built, forecasted tower. Now, by assigning a weatherman, and that is gonna be, let's go. I always prioritize people that are younger, because they will last longer on the service, on the job that I'm giving them. I'm gonna put over there Shambombo. And from this point on, Shambombo will predict what kind of weather we will have in the future, and that will allow us to prepare for that kind of weather in the future. I don't know if that has any difference, if that does any change for the people themselves down there, if they prepare somewhat in some way. As you can see over here, it's opening up the temperature predictions. So in the very near future, we will have -5, we will have after that 7, plus 15, 17 actually, 28, 27, 27. These are split into seasons. If I'm not mistaken, each color is a season. There are 4 seasons in the game: spring, summer, fall, and winter. The entire season cycle consists of 8 sections. So no, each season is consisted by 8 sections. So I guess this is a whole season. And the temperature changes a lot in just one season, which is quite odd in my opinion. Alright, now we are recovering in water. The eatery still doesn't have enough food. We don't have a cooker for the eatery. I completely forgot that. So let's give that job to Amba and Kalambu. Even though she's doing something maybe important, I don't know. But there's no one else. Oh, this guy's... No, this is a farmer. So let's put Kalambu over there. It's always good to keep your people on a job for obvious reasons. Now let's see what else can we build over here. You can see the fisherman over there doing his job. Even though the lake is frozen, I'm not entirely sure how can he fish like that, but good luck doing that. I really wish that you could have more than one fisher, because now if I want to have another one fishing, I need to build another fisher's hut. I think 2 would be a reasonable number for that kind of building. We have here some huts being built. I suppose we can wait on that to be built. Not entirely sure what happens if your nuggets don't have houses, but they will probably not like that. You can see all kinds of information when you click on stuff. In this stone hut, you can see that Coca and Zimola live there, and they are consuming 2 food right now, and also 0.2 water. I suppose when you change era, which is something I don't think this current build has, you will see all these numbers changing, I would say the houses changing as well. It wouldn't make sense to see a stone hut in the medieval era. And when you click on someone, you can also see all sorts of information. Coca, for instance, has no kids yet. You can see what he's doing right now. You can see who is disposed. This power will make a nugget pregnant without the help of a male. If I do this on someone that has a husband, that husband will probably not be very happy. Let's see. Who are you? Nalu. She has no spouse. She has 49% health only. That's not too good. So how about we make... Where is she? Nalu pregnant. So, inconceivable on Nalu. So everyone in the village are currently now wondering how the hell did Nalu get pregnant? Well, he just got a spouse, Shanoka. Alright, well that explains something. So the next thing I would like to build is gonna be the hospital. And I'm gonna put one in the middle of the village, because it's an important building, I suppose. So I'm gonna put it right over here. And I guess I will be able to assign witch doctors. And this will eventually, you know, upgrade into a full hospital in the industrial era. I don't know why this building keeps having this icon. That icon basically means it's lacking food, but I have a farm right over here. And I have a fisher's hut right over there. And we have 5 meals currently prepared for people to go there. Now 4. So maybe that means... I like these effects on the camera, by the way. They look cool when you go through clouds and whatnot. This is the sound of a horn, meaning that we are changing season. And that only happens if you have a forecast tower. You can also check some info over there. But it's currently not available in this build of the game. So let's accelerate time so that we can have that hospital built. We currently don't have anything to do in the cemetery. Nano currently has nothing to do because there's no one dead. But I'm pretty sure someone will die soon. Let's watch the hospital being built right next to someone mating in their hut. We currently have almost 20 adults, which is, I think, the max I've ever had in the game so far. I'll also like to say that I've never played this much. Finally, the lack of food icon is not present in the eatery. And that's great. We have 10 dishes ready. And there we go. Now I need to assign a witch doctor over here. Someone is already coming over here to get healed. I would just love if you could see into more specific kind of stats so that you know which person you should consider for a certain job. Because currently I don't know exactly what to look at when I am considering someone for the hospital, for instance. So I was really hoping to see someone dying to check what's happening with the cemetery after that, to see if people will mourn the person or not. But apparently that is currently not happening. But this is, ladies and gentlemen, a taste of what the Universim can offer as a game. I am quite enjoying it, even though, you know, like I said, this is just a taste. It's not enough for me, obviously, to keep playing it. There's a lot more coming, and a lot more that it promises. But I like the ideas that it already shows. I like where it can go. I like the potential that it has. Imagine what it is to fill the whole planet with people. Or I would say even half of the planet with people, because filling it up with the whole city will be, I would say, quite difficult to get at. But after that, imagine getting into the space era and going into other planets and then start a new civilization there with new creatures. Finding new creatures, finding things that you were not able to have in this planet, because the conditions in this planet are quite different from another planet, and it's coming soon. There's still no release date, unfortunately, because I really want to play more. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye bye.